It's time again for the Science Bowl.
Zoo Parade for 5. What big teeth the hippo has are actually a pair of these. Science Potpourri for 10. Would a snake most likely eat every day? Every week, Dateline Science for 10. Why are some elephants wearing necklaces these days? Green things for 15.
And now, here's your host, Mr. Z himself, Dave Zarin.
Thank you and welcome to the Science Bowl. So good to have you here today. This our 32nd year on TV here in Prince George's County. We've got 6 outstanding young people to play our game today. Let's meet them right now. First, from Calverton Elementary, would you please say hello to Christopher Goraka, Douglas Villalobos, and Gianni Nicholas. And from Glendale Elementary School, would you say hello to Franklin Asangong, Jayla Smith, and Ian Ward. And now here are the categories of questions we use on the Science Bowl.
Okay, Mr. Z, here's today's categories. Green things, questions about plants and all things green and growing. Zoo Parade, a Noah's Ark of questions about animals. Body systems, we'll see how much you know about yourself, about things like breathing and growing and digesting your food. Let's get physical. Questions that test your knowledge of physics and chemistry, earth science and space science. Then there's Science Potpourri. Here's a grab bag of science questions, everything from air pollution to the kitchen sink. And finally, Dateline Science. We'll ask you about science history and science in the news.
And here on the Science Bowl, we arrange our game board according to question difficulty. The easier questions are on the left, worth 5 and 10 points. The tougher ones worth 15, 20, and ultimately 25, the toughest of them all. Both of our teams start out at 50 points apiece. No penalties ever for incorrect answers. And to the 2 rounds, one of these 2 talented, good-looking teams will come back to play our game again and perhaps advance to the semifinal rounds. Let's go over and make sure everything works properly before we start. Let's go to that red team. And Douglas, would you try that buzzer? Looks and sounds A-OK. Good luck to you, to Christopher, and to Gianni. And Jayla, how about the green teams? All right, they're raring to go too. Jayla and Ian and Franklin. Just got to say, before we even start, congratulations. You were picked by your schools to represent your schools. You're all great ambassadors, so you win just by being here. Let's have a good game. May the better team win. We go alphabetically C before G, so Calverton and Douglas, let's play this bowl.
Zoo Parade for 10.
Zoo Parade for 10 points to start us out. Teams, according to a German legend, the goddess known as Esti, she was the goddess of spring. She created this mammal from a bird. So every year on Easter, this mammal lays eggs in her honor. Glendale.
Easter Bunny?
The Easter Bunny, you got that right. Nice story, huh? You wonder, how can a mammal lay an egg? There are egg-laying mammals, but a rabbit is really not one of them. Go green.
Green things for 5.
Green things for 5 points. Teams, this traditional Christmas plant actually has green leaves. It's bracts that are red. You see them in all the stores right now. Poinsettia plants with the big, they look like red leaves. Those are not the leaves. Those are the bracts. Try again, green.
Zoo Parade for 5 points.
Zoo Parade for 5 points. Teams, new research shows that our original ancestors are in the phylum Porifera. Most of us know that there's a cartoon character, absorbent, yellow, and porous is he, that is one of these creatures, Calverton.
SpongeBob?
Just Sponge. Sponge is okay, yeah. SpongeBob, that was the description. Good. Go red.
Let's get physical for 5.
Let's get physical for 5 points. Teams, recently we saw in the sky something called a super moon. We're going to see 2 more in the next couple months. A supermoon is 14% bigger than a normal moon, and 30% what? All right, Glendale.
Brighter?
Brighter, yeah, it looks like there's a huge ball up there in the sky. That's it. Trust your first instinct sometime. Good playing over there. Weigh in with your captain. Same thing over here with Douglas. Okay, Jayla, go. 65-55, you got a lead.
Dateline Science for 10.
Dateline Science for 10 points. Teams, recently the astronauts on the International Space Station, they recreated the experiment that this man did when he climbed the Leaning Tower of Pisa and dropped two objects of different weight to see which one would hit the ground first. Who was that man, Glendale?
Isaac Newton.
Ooh, not Isaac Newton. That sounds like something he would have done. All right, Calverton, hopefully you've been talking among yourselves. Who was that man? Leaning Tower of Pisa. Dropped two objects to show the force of gravity, not dependent on the weight. That's Galileo. Galileo. Pisa. Leaning Tower of Pisa. Italy. Put those things together. Go green.
Green things for 10.
Green things for 10 points. Teams, some of you that go online, if you go to Google, they do things called Google Doodles, where they honor some person each day. Recently, they honored a man with a funny name, Jan Ingerhauser. He was the man who back in 1730 discovered this food-making process that green plants perform. All right, Calverton. Photosynthesis. You got it, Gianni. That's the way. Oh, with a confident answer, too. I like it. Okay. Tie score, 65-all. Go red.
Daylight Science for 5.
Dateline Science for 5 points. Look at the monitor in the studio, please, for this question, teams. This big stuffed taxidermied elephant is downtown in the National Museum of Natural History. Part of what institution of buildings that line the mall in Washington and represented by that castle down there? What's its name?
Mammoth?
No. I'm looking for the name of the buildings, the institutions that this building is part of. There's a castle down on the mall that has this name. Glendale, what you got? Yeah. Go ahead. No penalty. Correct answer is the Smithsonian. The Smithsonian. And Ian was there saying, I told you, I told you. Okay, go red. You can't lose points by trying. Go.
Science potpourri for 5.
Potpourri for 5 points. Teams, don't take an umbrella outside. Take binoculars or a telescope if the forecast is for these kinds of showers. What kinds of showers? Come on, Calverton.
That's Gianni.
Hail showers.
Not hail showers, no. If the forecast is for these kinds of showers, don't take an umbrella. Take binoculars or a telescope.
Meteor showers.
Meteor showers, that's it. Good. Go green.
Green things for 15.
Green things for 15 points. Teams, a lot of people get these things confused. Hay that you feed to horses is actually green grass and cereal grains. This other thing is yellow, it's not edible, and you use it to stuff scarecrows with it. Glendale?
Straw.
Straw, that's it, yes. Straw and hay, they look alike, but they are not the same. You might want to eat one if you're a horse. If the other one, forget it. All right, the buzzer said we come to the end of the first round, 65 for Calverton, 85 for Glendale. We'll be back with part 2 in just a moment. Don't you go away. Welcome back. Hope you're enjoying today's Science Bowl games at home as much as we are here in the studio. And our players, most of them here for the very first time, and they're acquitting themselves very well. It takes a while to get your sea legs on this show here. And let's give them a break. Let's talk to them about themselves and their schools. Let's go to Calverton first. And Douglas, give us the Calverton story. Who's your principal there?
Dr. Lamar.
And out there rooting for you. And who's the coach of your team?
Miss Richmond.
And we'll be out in just a few moments' time. And we'll introduce her, let everybody see her. Do you have any alternates on your team?
Yes.
Who are they?
Ann and Mariah.
All right, so they're out there waiting in the wings. They're probably yelling answers, but we can't hear them here in the studio. Tell me something about Calverton that you think everybody should know. Brag about your school. What's something that's really neat about your school?
Well, our school is making a science lab outside.
Outside?
Yes.
Wow. So it's like an outdoor classroom. That's unique. I think I want to
So.
see that. I want to see that. Yeah. Tell me about yourself. You're a safety patrol. I can see you've got your sash over there. That's a position of responsibility. And I hope the youngsters listen to you over there. What do you want to do when you get older?
Well, what I want to do is that first I want to get a better degree. So what I would want to do is that I would study, maybe go to law school, and have a better education. So and then maybe one day I can become a president. You
want to be the president of the United States? He told me that earlier, and I can see you doing that. You got a nice level head about you, and we need people who consider things well, and that's what you have to do someday. And You told me earlier that the first thing you'd do if you were the president would be to make education free all across the board.
Yes, I would.
That's a great idea. All right, Your Honor. Another potential president, Mr. Johnny over there. You too want to be president, huh?
Yeah.
What would you do?
Well, what I would do is actually try to give everyone a better education, and I would try to make the world a better place. Of course, ever since there was presidents trying to fix all that, that there's still bad things going on inside of the world, and then I want to try to fix those things if I become a president.
Wow, bad things going on. They always have been, and all the presidents get in there and they try their best to try to just cut down on that long list. A nice, noble thing to think about. Christopher, nice to have you on the show here. Tell me what you do in your spare time. I know you're a soccer player, yeah?
Yep.
Yep. Would you like to do that professionally someday?
Yes, first I would try to get better scholarship, better education.
Yeah.
Try to get my degree, work hard. Then I'll go play for a soccer team. Not for the pro, but like not too good. Then I will like become better and better so they accept me. Like in the bigger leagues.
Of course,
so
yeah.
I can
And
play.
you got to kind of start at the bottom and work your way up, and that's kind of the way of the world. You can't just start at the top up here, even though a lot of people would like to. You've got a good idea over there about your work ethic, you know, and stick to it. You're a good player. Let's talk to Glendale. Jayla, tell us about Glendale. Who's your principal?
Our principal is Miss Porterfield.
Miss Porterfield. And who brought you here today? Who is your coach?
Miss Moore.
Wonderful, and I know she's out there. She's been working hard with you to get you ready today. I know you've watched old programs here. Any alternates on your team? I think I saw 3. Just their first names is enough.
There was Chimamanda, Walter, and Zaria.
Wonderful. We'll bring them out with Miss Moore in just a few moments here. And tell me, I'm going to ask you what I asked Douglas. Tell me something special about your school. What is it that you can't wait to get to school for?
Well, at school, all the teachers are very nice, and we learn lots of new things every day. And we have lots of aftercares.
And aftercare, that's wonderful. And I know you have some extracurricular activities like Science Bowl that you guys availed yourselves of. And it sounds like you have some great teachers out there at Glendale. Ian, nice to have you with us today. Why'd you want to be on the show?
I wanted to be on the show because I felt like I could express my talent with science and also have fun at the same time, so that was like a jackpot for me.
You're so well spoken, and I understand that your dad is in the television business, is he not?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, Mr. Derek Ward on NBC4, and a well-spoken gentleman, and you're taking after him very nicely. I know how proud he must be of you. What do you want to do someday? You're welcome. What would you like to do when you get older?
I want to be a news reporter like my father actually.
But of course, you'd got a good voice. You've got a great voice. Franklin, nice to have you here. You want to be a neuroscientist, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, how'd you get that idea?
Because I wanted to be a doctor, but I felt like a special kind of doctor, and I was thinking the kinds of doctors, and I felt like the best thing I would like to do would be like a neurosurgeon or scientist.
Wow. You have a lot of school ahead of you, you know, medical school and residency, but if you've got the discipline that you obviously have, that'll see you through. Glad you're on the show here today. Let's get back to the game. 85 for Glendale, 65 for Calverton. Last correct answer came from the green team, so Jayla, lots of points to give away. Start us out.
Super 8 for 15.
Super 8 for 15 points. Teams, some beetles are very brightly colored. And a lot of people thought for a long time those colors were to warn off predators to stay away because we're toxic. But now they think those bright colors help them to blend in with their brightly colored background, which means it's a form of what? What do we call that, Glendale?
Camouflage.
Yeah, you all were saying that. Good answer. Go. Green. Camouflage it is.
Green things 20. Green things for 20.
Green things for 20 points is a visual question. Look at the monitor in the studio, please. And see, Mr. Z, that looks like a bunch of rocks. It does look like a bunch of rocks, but we've faked you out here. We've fooled you. Those are plants. Those are called stone plants. What do we call it when certain organisms try to look like something else so that they are not detected? It's not camouflage. It's this.
Mimicry.
Mimicry. Good answer, Douglas. Yes, sir. Go. Red.
Super 8 for 20.
Super 8 for 20 points. Teams, you know, the outside of a scorpion, like the outside of all arthropods, is called this. What's it called, Glendale?
Exoskeleton.
An exoskeleton, yeah, the cuticle made of chitin. As opposed to our endoskeletons. All right, guys, you're hot. Both of you are. Go, green.
Let's get physical for 10.
Let's get physical for 10 points. Teams, there are bullet trains in Japan. They go hundreds of miles an hour. They can do that because they fly above the rails. What force don't they have to worry about? What force don't they have to worry about, Glendale?
Gravity.
Ooh, not gravity so much. What force do they not have to worry about, Calverton?
Passagiani.
Friction.
Friction, that's right, the friction. Yeah, there's nothing, no wheels against that steel rail there. Go, red.
Zoo parade for 25.
Zoo parade for 25, the big one in that category is, teams, if you ever looked at a baby kangaroo, it doesn't have a belly button because its marsupial mama was never connected to the baby by what connection? What was the connection that was missing on the marsupial mama, Glendale?
The
Umbilical cord.
Umbilical cord? Yes, indeed. We will give that to you. The umbilical cord with the placenta inside. Indeed. Go green.
Body systems for 5.
Body systems for 5 points. Teams, you know that newborn babies are all kind of wet from the amniotic fluid, which is why when somebody is new at something, like you are at playing Science Bowl, we say that you are wet behind the what?
Ear?
Wet behind the what, Douglas?
The ear?
Ears, that's right. Yeah, you're not wet behind the ears. You know what you're doing. Go, Douglas. President Douglas.
Body systems for 10.
Body systems for 10 points. Teams, instead of neurons and axons and synapses, the Grinch Who Stole Christmas was said to have spiders inside this body organ. What
Pastor
body
Johnny?
organ,
His
Calverton?
His stomach.
Not his stomach, no. Instead of neurons and axons and synapses, the Grinch Who Stole Christmas was said to have spiders inside this body organ, Glendale.
Brain.
His brain, yeah. Our neuroscientist, Franklin, you can't miss that one, buddy. Okay, go green.
Science potpourri for 10.
Potpourri for 10 points. Teams, there are shellfish called scallops. They taste very good. They have very unusual eyes. Instead of having lenses to focus the image on their retina, they have these to reflect, the same ones that told the evil queen that Snow White was the fairest of them all. Glendale.
Mirror.
They have mirrors in their eyes. Yes, they do. And you listen to all my clues. That's just the way to play this game. Score update, 165-100. Still, lots of big points to give away. Go, Jayla.
Dateline science for 15.
Dateline science for 15 points. Teams, Rear Admiral Grace Hopper. She recently had a little Lego figure made of her because she was a famous scientist. She was the pioneer of programming. She came up with the first coding language. And because of all that, they have named not just a Lego figure for her, but a super one of these for her. A super what in honor of the Rear Admiral?
Supercomputer.
Supercomputer, absolutely right. Good, go, green.
Body systems for 15.
Body systems for 15 points. Teams, what same name describes some kinds of big TVs and the liquid part of your blood? What same name describes both? Yeah,
Pastor
Calverton.
Johnny?
Veins.
Not veins, no. The liquid part of your blood has what same name as certain kinds of large TVs? Plasma. Plasma TVs. Ah, go, green.
Body systems for 20.
Body systems for 20 points. All right, teams. It's kind of humorous that your humerus bone is known as the funny bone. Humerus and humerus, those are called homonyms. They sound alike, but they're spelled differently. I'll give you 20 points if you can spell the bone humerus. All right, who's going to be my speller over there? All right, Douglas, you're spelling humerus the bone, not the humorous as in ha-ha joke. Humerus the bone. Go.
H-U-M-U-R-O-U-S.
Ooh, good try, good try. All right, Jayla, you can win this. You can get the 20 points if you can spell humerus the bone. Who's going to spell?
Pass to Ian.
Okay, Ian.
H-U-M-E-R-O-U-S.
If you hadn't put that O in at the end, you would have had us. So close, so close. Nice try. No points. Go again, green.
Let's get physical for 15.
Let's get physical for 15 points. Is a multiple choice question, teams. You know, when ice cream makers make ice cream, they don't want the fat to separate out. That doesn't look good and it doesn't taste good. So they add emollients, enzymes, or emulsifiers. What would you do to make sure that the fat doesn't separate out? Enzymes, emollients, or emulsifiers? What do you think, Calverton?
Emulsifiers?
Emulsifiers, absolutely. Good answer. Go. Red.
Science potpourri for 15.
Potpourri for 15 points. Teams, in swamps and bogs, anaerobic bacteria are creatures that can live very comfortably without what kind of gas being present? Without what gas, Glendale?
Oxygen?
Yeah, anaerobic means without oxygen. Good answer. Go green.
Dateline science for 20.
Dateline science for 20 points. Teams, y'all remember, I hope, that Greek Archimedes who jumped in the bathtub and all the water splashed out, and he said, Eureka! He discovered that the displacement of the water in the tub equals the displacement of the part that jumped in. What do we call that V initial term that describes the space that something occupies? That V initial term that describes the space that something occupies, Glendale?
Volume?
Volume, yes, the volume displaced is exactly what Archimedes yelled Eureka about. Go green.
Science potpourri for 20.
Potpourri for 20 points. If you're at home and you're cooking, and the recipe says add half a teaspoon of citric acid. Darn, I don't have any citric acid. Oh, yes, you do if you have some of this juice in your refrigerator. Calverton?
Gianni?
Orange juice?
Orange juice or lemon juice or grapefruit juice, all of those are citric juices. Good, Gianni. Go, red.
Let's get physical for 20.
Let's get physical for 20 points. All right, teams, your question is as follows. You know, when you put a paper towel onto a wet spot and the water comes up the paper towel, that is an example of what kind of action, the same kind of action that causes red-colored water to go up a celery stalk. It has the same name as the smallest of your blood vessels. What kind of action, Calverton?
Pass Gianni.
Evaporation?
Not evaporation. What kind of action describes the movement of water up a paper towel, has the same name as the smallest of your blood vessels?
Absorption?
Capillary action. Capillaries are your smallest blood vessels. Try again, red. All right, got 4 big questions left. Which one, Douglas?
Science potpourri for 25.
Science potpourri for 25 points. Teams, if you go to the Great Smoky Mountains National Park out in Tennessee, that is the world capital of these amphibians, the only kinds of vertebrates that we know of that if they lose their legs, they grow back again. It's the world capital of what kinds of amphibians, Glendale?
Lizard?
Not lizards, good try. What kinds of amphibians? More of them live in Great Smoky Mountain National Park than any other place in the world. They are the only vertebrates that we know that if they lose their limbs, they grow back.
Pass Gianni.
Chameleons?
Salamanders. Salamanders. I know you were thinking that. All right, go, Douglas.
Let's get physical for 25.
Let's get physical for 25. All right, your question is as follows. Teams, in Europe, they measure temperature on the Celsius scale, C-E-L-S-I-U-S. You know what I'm going to ask you? Here in this country, we measure it on the Fahrenheit scale. I'm going to ask you to spell Fahrenheit. All right, Glendale says we can try.
Me.
Pass it to Franklin.
All right,
F.
Frank, go ahead. Take your time.
A.
Say it. Start again, please.
R. F. A. 8. No. R. E. N. H. E. I. T.
All but one letter. All but one letter. All right, Douglas, you can get these 25 points if you can correctly spell Fahrenheit, and I hope you listened to what they were saying.
F-A-R-E-N-T.
No. Franklin, you came very close. F-A-H-R-E-N-H-E-I-T. There was an H in there that was kind of hiding. All right, we've come to the end of the game, and you guys did a nice job. We'll be back with a wrap-up in just a moment. Don't go away. Welcome back. What a second half we had here. And not only did these young people know their stuff, they were having a lot of fun. They were congratulating each other. Great sports, too. That's what we like to see. Our final tally today is Calverton 135, Glendale 215. Congratulations, Franklin and Jayla and Ian. Yeah, we can give a clap for them. Look at the alternates back there, Chinamanda and Walter and Zaria and the wonderful Miss Moore. Thank you for all that you did. And let's have a round of applause for Calverton, too. Christopher and Douglas and Gianni. And Mariah's back there, and Ann and Miss Richmond, thank you for getting involved and being part of Science Bowl. We love having you here, and we love having you, too. Hope you see you next time on another edition of Science Bowl. Till then, I'm Dave Zarin. Bye-bye.